Alrighty guys, I'm Johnny Scoville and this is Chase the Heat. You know, there were so many great comments and questions, not just on the video where I talked about pod season 2022, but on my Instagram and Facebook. I got a few emails, a bunch of emails. So I thought I did it a disservice by just touching it briefly upon it as I did in previous videos, so I thought it'd be very important to make a video talking to you. You know who I'm talking to. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna discuss pod season. We're gonna do this from a person who's never eaten peppers before. When I started Chase the Heat, the intention really was just to have fun, you know, and to grow and, you know, share my passion with other people. What ends up happening every single year is that people end up sitting on a fence watching these videos. Listen, I don't care if you don't eat peppers, but I know that people watch them all the time, and you know, it's the analogy that I've used over and over again. It's a good one. If you've had kids, or if you've driven by or been near a playground, or you were a kid yourself, you know, jumping rope, you got two kids on either end and they're twirling the rope, and the kid's doing this, kind of rocking, getting ready. Jump in. There are a lot of people season one that were doing this and didn't realize it. You're just watching videos. And maybe you thought to yourself, man, why do I keep watching these videos? I don't eat hot stuff. Season 5, you're a Chiliad. That's how it happens. So there are a lot of people that will be watching, that came off last season, or that just found us. There are people that are going to find this channel today. But this may be the year you decide you want to do this. And I want to talk first about the word Chiliad. You know, I was a Chiliad before I think that was a term. Been doing this a long time. You know, Chiliad doesn't mean you can eat the hottest stuff or you're hardcore. It just means you have a passion and a love for it. You know, if you eat a jalapeno once a month or once a week, but man, when you do, you love it, and you always like stuff a little spicier than everybody else, you're a Chiliad. That's all. So, you've been watching this, and you're thinking to yourself, this is my year, I'm going to do it. So we're going to talk about that. How to get started. How to eat some peppers. Now, I'm very, very fortunate that I get some of the most, I shouldn't say some of those, I am very blessed in that I eat the most exotic peppers on the face of the earth. Very lucky for that. Very fortunate, very blessed. But the great news is this, I really love chilies, and I don't care, I said this to Tom Broom last night, I don't care if a chili tastes bad, I'm so excited to eat it. I love experiencing new peppers. It's peppers, man. So you don't have to have exotic super hot peppers, and you certainly don't start with the upper echelon peppers. What I would suggest, if this is your first year of doing it and you're saying to yourself, this is the year. This is the year. I know that I do products all the time that make you think, man, I could do that product. I know I don't eat hot stuff, but I could do that one. That same idea is what's going on with peppers. You know, I can't eat that Reaper, but maybe I can eat that one. Start with a jalapeno. Start with a green pepper. Start with the pepper. Start with the fruit. Listen, there's more vitamin C in one of these, or this, or this. More vitamin C in these that are in, more in just one than in, I don't know, there's 3 or 5 oranges. These are so good for you. But the other thing that's great is they taste so wonderful. All peppers, you're gonna find that none of them taste the same. Well, I shouldn't say that. Peppers all have a bit of uniqueness to them in the way they look, the different varieties, the shapes, the aromas, the taste, the burn, the type of burn, the intensity of the burn. So, I'm gonna eat this snacker. It's a red snacker from Tom Broom. Actually, let me eat a yellow one first. Yellow snacker from Tom Broom. Not sure of the genetics. Just a wonderful tasting pod. If you're brand new and you've never eaten hot pods, if you just ate could probably eat that much and not really bum yourself out. And you would get the fruitiness and the citrus nature of it. But here's what I suggest. If you're gonna start with something like a jalapeno. And the beautiful thing about that is there are a couple things. Incredibly stable pepper. A jalapeno is a jalapeno is a jalapeno. That's the first thing. Second thing, they're readily available. You can get them just about anywhere. All right. Oh. Fruity, citrusy, hot. I love it. So, here's what I would suggest. Even if you're just starting out and you start with a jalapeno, be careful. Jalapeno. I was with a friend of mine named Doug at an oyster bar in Texas, eating. What were we eating? Crayfish, crawdads, mud bugs. Man, they were so good. I was living in Texas. He had come to visit out of state from Vermont. I went to this place. I'm like, you gotta go to this place. It's called the Oasis. We're eating them. And I had a jalapeno. I've always been a lifelong Chiliad. I hadn't eaten the chili in a long time, months and months, because I was doing different things. And I just wasn't eating chilies. I ate that one. It was a red snack. I ate the one jalapeno, and it almost ruined me for the night. It's brutal. So, the red one's slightly hotter, a little bit more neutral tasting. You can't taste the citrus notes, kind of fruity. Anyway, slice a jalapeno with a sliver. Just a jalapeno ready. Now, you don't need to eat the entire pod to start your process, your journey. You can just, just a sliver of a pod. You know, when Papa Scoville was alive, one day, I don't remember what peppers we had, but I gave him a sliver of pepper. He got the hiccups. It was crazy, but he loved it. It was fun. It was a great video. So, a good rule of thumb to remember is you can always eat more. When you're sitting down to eat some peppers and they get a good burn on, you can always eat more. All right? But once you've eaten too much, you're committed to it. There's nothing you can do. You're along for the ride. All right? So just go easy, especially when you start. Now, also critical when you're just beginning is your understanding and at least awareness of something called cap cramps. Cap, short for capsaicin. Cap cramps, they're brutal. What happens is, if you experience a high level of capsaicin in your stomach has a difficult time processing, and you will cramp. They're brutal. I was in a chili contest with a woman that I know who's great Chiliad. She has 4 children. She said that bad cap cramps are worse than labor pains. So they're real, people. You can minimize, a couple ways you can minimize cap cramps. First and foremost, don't ever eat hot stuff on an empty stomach. Someone messaged me to comment today that they had just done that. I mean nothing, not a tube of Terra peanut, not a 2.0, don't eat any of those things on empty stomach. It's a blueprint for a problem. You will cramp up, and they come in waves sometimes. Sometimes it's not so bad, you just get one wave, it goes away. Really severe ones, man, they come in waves and they keep coming. I think those waves are going through your intestines, I'm not sure. But man, if you've never had cap cramps, me describing you is pointless. If you haven't, you know what I'm talking about. I think the first video, the second video on this channel, I was at a party at Vince Jones's house, a good buddy of mine. A place called the Beer Garden, his backyard. Great place. Got up on stage after the band played, and I ate, I don't know how many, I think 5 or 6 or 7 peppers. He ate one. I ate them on an empty stomach. I wasn't a new Chiliad, but I was new with the channel. And although it was not a new Chiliad, eating peppers at that, in those numbers, super hot, that was kind of relatively new. I went home and had calf cramps all night. I mean, all night till the sun came up. I won't do it again. So have food in your stomach. Now, what food, starchy food is really good? Mashed potatoes, a banana, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, bread. Okay, that'll help. Just not empty stomach. Some people have a regimen they do all the time. Some people don't. I don't. As long as there's food in my gut, I'm usually okay. You will find that your tolerance in your mouth will rise quicker than your tolerance in your stomach. All right? Another way you can lessen the effects on your stomach is to chew the pepper up really well. If you chew up just chunks and try to swallow them in chunks, because you're thinking it's easier in your mouth, rougher on your stomach. Harder to digest chunks, and you know what I mean? Just makes sense. So chew up the food really, really well. You're going to give your stomach a break. What to do when you've had too much. It's one of those things. When you've eaten too much and you have cramps, you have cramps. They're real, people. I find with me personally, if I lay down when I'm in the midst of a wave of calf cramps, it makes it worse. Being upright, for me, but I know people that are different, you know. I mean, David, listen, Pepper Apprentice, college boy, love that dude. College boy naps. I'll tell you, I don't know what kind of deal you had to make with the devil, college boy, to get that. But if I could somehow, with a really bad calf cramps, hey, listen, I'm gonna go take a nap on the couch. I can check in an hour. I'll feel better. Huh. He sleeps. Now, I will tell you this. It happened to me once. I can't remember when it was. It was at the office. I think it was at the office. I can't remember. Once or twice, maybe. But I just was so overcome with just crazy fatigue. It's unbelievable. It's insane. Had a nap. Let's talk about the endorphin rush. A lot of people do this for the endorphin rush. Let's see a show of hands. The endorphin rush is a beautiful experience. You know, sometimes in life when you get an endorphin rush, it's not a good thing. It's scary. You almost have a car accident, you're like traumatized. I mean, sometimes, but in the case, you know, runners, I've run marathons. Marathon running, the runner's high, I've heard people describe it. I can tell you from having done both, that really, the euphoria you get. How you achieve it's different, but the euphoria you get from that buzz is very similar from a runner's high to a pepper buzz. What ends up happening with peppers is your body goes into distress and thinks it's dying. Sends dopamine throughout your body to release to help you with pain. As a result, your pain will decrease big time. Sometimes it's crazy noticeable. Sometimes the endorphin rush isn't as noticeable with your pain, but you get more chatty. Some people get really chatty. Some people get quiet. Some people, everybody has a different thing they do. It's how it works on you. Big Al is a wonderful guy. I love Big Al, my brother. The guy's never had a drink, never done drugs in his life. Isn't that wonderful? So beautiful. He's gotten a buzz 2 times, both with me. I'm so proud of that. Both with peppers. The first time, it's on video too. The first time he's like, I feel mellow. That was the endorphin rush. And what happens is so when the endorphin rush hits, you'll feel it a couple ways. The most common stuff, so you can know if it's happening to you, your fingers may tingle. Okay, you'll get lightheaded. Your toes will tingle. Feels like your fingers are vibrating. They call it spirit fingers. It feels like your fingers are vibrating. The first time I had a really hard endorphin rush, I had to look at my fingers because they were vibrating so hard I thought they were moving, and you had to look to check. Your ears will burn. Not on the outside, not the skin, but deep inside, like inside, your ears will burn. That's a very common thing that happens. That's a sure sign with me that I'm getting one. I've had endorphin rushes where my pain rate went from like a 9 to like a 1. Like that. I mean it. Like that. I had kidney stones. Give me a shot of morphine because I thought I was dying. very similar feeling. You hit the plunger on that, and you're like, oh, hey, that's way better. When I had a kidney stone, instantly took the edge off. Didn't make it all better, but really made a lot, helped. The Endorphin rush is like that. That's why capsaicin is used as a pain reliever. I use it as a pain reliever every day. It helps significantly. I used to be on pain meds. I used to go to a pain management clinic. Are you kidding? I should tell you that story real quick. I'm going to tell you a story really quick because I'll finish. I'll dovetail out of there with the ending. I broke my back in a car accident. I was driving to work, believe it or not. I was just working way too much. Way too much. Like 80 hours was on a short week. I'm taking 90, 100. I worked 106 hours, 108 hours 1 week. So I was driving to work in a car that was new to me. It was not brand new. It was very new to me. It was a couple years old. It was a Toyota 4Runner Limited. I wrote a check for that car. Bank check. But I paid for it full, all at once. And I was driving to work. And I fell asleep. I was wearing my seatbelt, thank God. But I thought I was having a terrible dream. I remember thinking to myself, man, this sucks. What a horrible dream this is. I remember thinking, this is a terrible dream. Oh, I don't like it. By the time I woke up, in the time I was out, I woke up. I heard metal crunching, glass breaking. I mean, I heard all. It was just terrible, violent. When I woke up, there was a cop looking in my window. These two windows were broken from the collision, just from the crunch. I did not have an did the airbag not deploy? Didn't deploy. Maybe it didn't have an airbag. But the cop was already, you all right? What's going on? I was like, driving to work. Anyway, it happened less than a quarter of a mile from my office. So I got my briefcase and went to work. Walked there. Got my cab home. Got a new car, please. Anyway, that's where I broke my back. All right? I didn't think it was broken. So my back started to hurt. I went to the doctor like years later and he said, you broke your back. When did you do that? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, when did you break your back? I said, I didn't break my back. He goes, you have the back of a 75-year-old athlete. You just break it. You broke it a bunch of places. Your L1, 2, 4, and 5 are all broken. And everything from my T3 down is either herniated or bulged. I'm not making any of that up. I got a report that you can read that. Hard back problems. I was like, wow. I didn't even know. So they said, we're going to put you on pain meds. And they put me on, because I was in pain. I was in agony. I had surgery, a couple surgeries. If you're going to pain, if you've gone to a pain management, you know what I'm talking about. Doctor, asks you the history of what drugs you take and what works, what didn't. She gave me a pill bottle, that big around, that tall, like amber, you kind of see through it, white cap, filled with Vicodin. My hand to God. She said, eat. Give me a chart. When you eat, till the pain goes away. She told me how to do it. Like, take 1. If that doesn't do it, 4 hours, take 2. And then get to the point where I'm ahead of it. That's the idea of pain. And what their mindset is, it's not just to selfish, to get ahead of it so you aren't in pain. And do that for a couple of days, and then you're going to come back and tell us what you did, and we're going to base your prescription off that. I thought, that sounds dodgy. That's a sketchy way to do it. But I swear to you, that's how they did it. So I went back and I started taking Vicodin. Next thing you know, Vicodin wasn't working. It stopped working. Oh, and there were side effects. I won't even talk about it. Vicodin stopped working. I was eating those things like Good and Plenty. Doctor prescribed. Wasn't working. So he said, we're going to put you on Percocets. I said, I wanted the pain to go away. I was in agony. Put me on Percocets. That stopped working. Then they, man, I went in one day and I had a couple, injections of steroid injections. That was fun. It's a whole different story. I go in one day And she says to me, I had to go once a month. I went in, I think. I go in and sit with her, and she says, I'm gonna put you on something different. I said, okay, what are you gonna put me on? I said, methadone. And I went, you know, I fell off the cabbage truck last night. Methadone is used for weaning people off of heroin, no? She said, yeah, but it's a great painkiller. I'm like, peace, I'm out of here. It scared me to death. I got up and walked out. She was gonna be sick, you need to get me. I went home and was sick Subsequently had a couple back surgeries, a neck surgery. Today, I take nothing stronger than, I didn't mean to go on that long thing about it, but a big reason I do what I do is because of the health benefits, the pain relief I get. The strongest thing I take is BC powder, and that's it. Excuse me. And that works for me. So you're going to find, as you start this journey, you're going to find some side effects that you might, if you're a person who has backaches, you might find yourself, your back doesn't hurt quite as much. Or if you have a certain ailment, like you have an ankle that bothers you, or an elbow, tennis elbow, whatever, you might find that those things that bother you aren't bothering you nearly as much. And that could be a side effect from the pods. It's a beautiful thing. What I'd like you to do, if anybody who's watching this, if you could put down some of the benefits, go to the comment section, write down some of the health benefits you've experienced by eating these. I've been sick once or twice in the last 8 years. Never had COVID. But, you know what I mean? There are a lot of great health benefits from it. But getting back to the whole thing, pushing yourself. I'm not trying to make this go an hour, but as you start your journey, what's going to happen, and I hate to, well, it's an ugly analogy, but somebody will, I'll use drinking. I don't drink. I haven't had a drink in 3 years or something. If I did a shot of tequila, I'd be a mess, right? Same thing, it's a tolerance. A pepper you may eat, all right? You may eat a pepper and may be really hot. You may get a little euphoric feeling from it. After a time, you're like, wait a minute, that pepper's not working. I know so many people who thought, man, did they change the formula of the sauce? It's not as hot as it used to be. No, you've changed your formula, bro. The sauce hasn't changed, you changed. Because our tolerances rise a lot, you know, and fall. So, and what ends up happening is, so you eat a pepper, it doesn't do the same thing for you. So then, just like the person who has one shot, it doesn't work anymore, they take 2 shots, you'll say, well, 1 jalapeno didn't do it. Maybe I can eat 2 jalapenos. I just got a phone call. So you'll say, I'll have 2 jalapenos. And that does it for a while. And then a jalapeno, then you realize it isn't the quantity, it's the pepper. You're like, man, jalapeno's not doing it for me anymore. What next? Start looking. This channel's a great resource. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pepper videos. But you can go to like a habanero, whatever's readily available. Now, again, you don't have to eat the whole pepper. You don't. You can, but you don't have to. You can just get a sliver of it and eat it. And then what'll happen is a sliver won't do it, then you'll eat half the pepper. Then the half the pepper won't do it, and you'll find yourself eating the whole pod. Next thing you know, you're eating pods on the way to work, at your work desk. And they don't hurt your stomach anymore. And it's beautiful. Then you say, Johnny, what's next? I'm eating habaneros like it's no big deal. I'm like, man, I don't know, can you get your hand on some ghost peppers? My journey was jalapeno, so I parked it on Serrano for a long time. I loved, not because I was scared of anything hot, I just have a passion for Serranos. Went from Serrano to habaneros to ghost pepper. I stuck on ghost peppers for a while. Again, I just love ghost peppers. From there I went to Reapers. And from Reaper, it just became a quest to find the next thing that was gonna hurt me. There's only, you know, my favorite pepper, next one. Really, it's a lemon yellow brain. But guys, this can be your year where you can, one thing, I know it's holding you back. Here's what we gotta talk about that for just a second. What's holding you back from being a Chiliad is the concern of the pain, right? It's also one of the reasons I do this. I put pain in my life on a regular basis. so that when it comes into my life that I'm not asking for, I'm better capable of handling. I'm not surprised. I'm like, oh, it's pain. I got this. I said it too. If you've never experienced pain before, what happens? You're like, oh, what's that? It's one of the reasons I do what I do. All right, so you guys, this could be your year. You don't have to hurt to become a Chiliad. I promise you. You'll feel something, but you don't have to have significant pain to be a Chiliad. You can just increase. Like, look, a guy who the guy gets the sand kicked on his face at the beach. He goes into the gym, becomes a muscle-bound dude. He didn't wake up one day huge. There was a day where he couldn't lift him. He couldn't strike a match, right? But over time, he became the same thing. Pace yourself. You don't have to hurt yourself, but you can be a Chiliad. This can be your season, right? You can start going to a grocery store, jalapenos, habaneros. I promise you, it's been the gateway pepper for, my goodness, it's everybody's starter. So this can be your season. You know what? Before you know it, and even though you may not want to eat entire pods, you can sure order them. And by getting slivers, you can get an idea of what these exotic pods taste like, even if you don't want to experience the heat. But there is such an amazing world of peppers out there in both shape and color and flavor and aroma and burn, waiting for you. You know? Jump in, it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna wrap it up now. Nothing in the description box other than JohnnyScoble.com. Oh, you know, if you want to build your tolerance for chili season, pepper season, Tubatera or the Tubatera 2.0 are great tolerance builders. So they're in the description box below. Right there is the pepper. Click it, we're riding together. This could be your season, guys. If you don't want to miss a video because this is your jam, click the bell for notification and Dropbox will roll down. There, League of Fire, regular reviews. Start now, and years from now you can say, I remember 2022 was my first pepper season. Let's do it. I'm Johnny Skull, and this was Chase the